The AI coding race has completely shifted. It's no longer about which model writes the best Python script.
It's way past that now.
It's about which AI can hijack your entire workflow, so you never actually have to.
Yeah, we're moving way beyond the basic chatbots here. We are entering the era of total automation.
We really are. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're examining 5 specific AI coding agents. These tools are fundamentally changing the math on software development.
They are changing absolutely everything about how we build software. The landscape looks completely different than it did just last year.
It really does. Our mission today is simple but critical. We want to help you bridge a very specific gap. The gap between simply knowing these tools exist and truly understanding them.
Exactly.
We want to show you which one makes your old workflow feel completely outdated.
Because honestly, the default choices just don't feel safe anymore. Cheaper, faster models are showing up absolutely everywhere now. Agents are moving directly into your browser environments. They're living inside your corporate documents.
They were handling real, complex workflows on their own. Beat. Let's start with a foundational shift in the industry. This shift is what makes large-scale agent work possible. I'm talking about massive structural price drops.
Yeah.
Let's look at Meta's Muse Code.
Muse Code is genuinely fascinating to watch in action. It's a terminal-based AI coding agent. You basically give it a task across an entire repository.
It plans the work entirely on its own.
Right.
It modifies the code without your constant supervision. It even checks the final result for errors.
Exactly. It runs on a new model called Muse Spark 1.2. Meta optimized this model specifically for code generation and debugging.
Which is huge.
It natively understands massive, intricate code bases.
And crucially, it supports parallel background agents. These agents work alongside each other simultaneously.
Yeah, it's like having a dozen junior devs branching your code at once.
Right. One long task doesn't bottleneck your entire morning.
That's the real magic right there.
Yeah.
Multiple agents handle different parts of the project simultaneously. Meta didn't just release another conversational chatbot. They built a distributed system to take on massive project parts.
The disruptive pricing is what really caught my eye. Muse Spark 1.2 costs a tiny fraction of the competition.
It really is wild.
It runs $1.25 per million input tokens.
Yeah.
And just $4.25 for a million output tokens.
You really have to compare that to the heavyweights. Take GPT 5.6 for example. That model runs $5 for input.
Wow.
And $30 for output. Or look at Claude Opus 5, which is $5 and $25.
That price gap is absolutely massive at scale. It really matters when you let an autonomous agent roam freely.
Oh, absolutely.
He reads hundreds of files, changes code, and runs endless tests. All that consumes tokens incredibly rapidly.
It really does. It burns through compute fast. Now, you might assume cheaper automatically means lower quality.
Sure, that's the natural instinct.
And Muse Code is still in beta, which is fair to note. But just look at the real-world project results. Look at Avalon.
Avalon is a fully functioning tower defense game. Meta says it was built entirely using Muse Code.
Yeah, you get a totally complete working game out of it. It has its own complex interface and resource management system.
It has actual playable gameplay loops.
Right. This isn't just a simple Hello World coding demo.
It proves it is not just a toy. I hear you on the price drop, but I'm skeptical. If it's modifying files constantly, how does managing parallel background agents change the risk of the AI breaking existing code?
Think of it like a team of developers cross-checking each other. One agent writes the actual function. Meanwhile, another agent simultaneously runs tests against it.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it catches breaking changes before they ever merge.
So it's basically peer review, but done instantly by machines.
Exactly. It changes the whole dynamic of trust.
So if Meta's strategy is making models incredibly cheap, OpenAI is attacking a different bottleneck.
Right.
They are building the ideal environment for these agents to live in. Let's look at OpenAI Codex.
Codex is putting immense structural pressure on the entire market. They are turning the AI into a broader workspace entirely. They really don't want you alt-tabbing anymore.
The biggest shift happened recently, back in July 2026. OpenAI integrated Codex directly into the ChatGPT desktop application.
Yeah, that was huge.
You can now access chat, work, and Codex all together.
It's all contained in the exact same desktop app. This shows exactly where OpenAI is heading next. Codex stays with your project far beyond just generating a script.
It handles complex pull request reviews natively. It manages multi-repository work without breaking a sweat. It even uses computer control to visually check what it built.
It is no longer just a text box on a screen. You assign the work and follow the background progress. You review the final results in one seamless flow.
The new features really highlight this architectural shift. The activity view is an absolute game changer.
Totally.
Recent chats and background tasks stay neatly visible in your sidebar.
It makes following long-running autonomous work so much easier. You never lose your place. Then you have the in-app browser integration.
Codex lets you review what it builds right there. You give feedback inside the exact same application window. You never have to switch over to Chrome.
Right, and they actually added a Chrome extension, too.
Oh, that's right.
Browser tasks can start right inside Chrome. Then they continue seamlessly straight into the desktop app workspace.
You get a much smoother, uninterrupted workflow. Codex keeps more of the project context in one single place. Let's talk about the Doom project from the sources.
The Doom project is a perfect example of this stamina. The creator kept everything contained in one single conversation thread.
Yeah.
Codex took the project from the first architectural plan to a working build.
2-sec silence.
Whoa!
Imagine holding context for 205 million tokens over 6 hours and 40 minutes without losing the thread.
It's honestly staggering when you think about that scale. That's like reading the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy 400 times.
Wow.
And still remembering exactly what color Frodo's cloak was on page 10.
It stayed on the exact same project without hallucinating. It managed all those moving parts perfectly over hours.
If you work on complex, multi-day projects, that reliability is invaluable. It's vastly better than an agent handling just one small task.
But honestly, does keeping everything in one giant thread create a massive memory burden for the user?
It normally would, but the activity view prevents you from getting lost in the history. It gives you a structured outline of every task branch.
So you aren't just scrolling forever.
Exactly. You never have to scroll endlessly.
The sidebar acts as your map through the endless code history.
Spot on. It keeps you oriented in the chaos.
So Codex brought the browser into the coding environment. But Cursor is dragging the entire Office suite directly into the code.
Yeah, they are.
Let's unpack this.
Cursor is pushing the agent into completely uncharted territory. They are automating work that used to require opening several different enterprise apps.
Cursor evolved from being a simple, smart code editor. Now it is a powerful tool for deep organizational research.
Right.
It handles messy data analysis and frontline bug triage natively.
It even does basic product management work now. Their own documentation shows people using it to research huge undocumented code bases. They analyze user data and automate recurring Friday morning work.
As Cursor handles more of this peripheral project work, its identity changes. It feels like a full corporate workspace, not just a traditional coding assistant anymore.
Their direction became crystal clear in August 2026. That's when Cursor fully launched their Google Workspace plugins.
Cursor can now natively read and write workspace data. It takes decisive actions inside your exact same coding environment.
Yeah.
You connect Cursor seamlessly with familiar Office apps.
It links directly into your Google Drive architecture. It can independently find, read, create, and organize your files.
It links deeply to Google Docs and Sheets, too.
It reads document content natively to understand your business logic.
And the Sheets plugin can read your messy spreadsheets. It updates data cells or writes complex formulas directly.
It even connects with Google Slides through the Workspace MCP endpoint.
Let's define that term. An MCP endpoint is basically a universal plug, letting AI safely talk to apps.
Right. And through that plug, it hooks into Gmail and Calendar.
Think about how many times a day you break your coding flow. You switch tabs just to check a Slack message.
We're constantly.
Or you find a Jira ticket in your email.
Yeah.
Cursor pulls that email and calendar data for task context automatically.
The example from the sources is easy to picture. You just give Cursor a very simple prompt in your editor.
Right.
You ask it to create a spreadsheet mapping out AI training steps. You ask it to add detailed descriptions for your team.
Without you ever opening a browser, it directly returns a populated Google Sheets link.
It's incredible.
That kind of task feels much closer to administrative office work. It is definitely not traditional coding anymore.
A real-world workflow shows Cursor doing frontline bug triage. It handles project management instead of just pure software development.
It connects code, corporate data, and workspace in one uninterrupted flow. You hand far more of a project to the exact same agent.
Yeah.
You never manually move context between different apps.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, if Cursor is reading my Gmail and calendar, How do we bound its context so it doesn't get distracted?
It only pulls data explicitly relevant to the prompt's parameters.
Yeah.
If you ask about a meeting, it scans for that specific keyword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just ignores the rest of your inbox entirely.
It searches your inbox for context, not for a distraction.
Right. It stays highly focused on the specific task.
Mid-roll sponsor Red, provided separately. With tools like Cursor doing so much heavy lifting across apps, we have to look under the hood.
Absolutely.
Developers are struggling to keep these complex architectures affordable. Enter DeepSeek.
DeepSeek V4 Flash is making the low-cost market very hard to ignore. You get a significantly smaller and faster model than their V4 Pro version.
DeepSeek says Flash stays remarkably close to the Pro version's intelligence,
Yeah.
especially on many standard repetitive agent tasks.
Yeah.
Let's define the architecture here so this makes sense. We need to talk about parameters.
Parameters are basically the core of how these models function.
Exactly. Parameters are artificial brain cells the model uses to think.
Right. So DeepSeek V4 Flash has 284 billion total parameters available, but it only uses 13 billion active parameters at any given time.
That makes it vastly more efficient than V4 Pro. DeepSeek is essentially doing a neat trick here.
They really are.
Instead of firing up all 284 billion brain cells for every single question, which costs a fortune, it routes your prompt.
Right.
It only activates the 13 billion cells that specialize in that specific task.
It's like calling the plumbing department directly, instead of paging the entire hardware store. It gives near pro reasoning, but runs so much cheaper.
And it responds much faster because of that smaller active size.
Yeah.
We're also seeing intense Chinese market competition pushing these architectural limits.
They are constantly pushing the limits of what is possible. Kimi K3 is pushing aggressively into long-horizon autonomous coding.
Yeah.
It handles deep knowledge work very well.
Then you have Quinn 3.8 Max from Alibaba. That one focuses heavily on complex coding, workflow automation, and research.
DeepSeek has to compete in a violently crowded market.
Users have far more viable choices than they did a year ago. We really need to look at the real cost of using DeepSeek V4 Flash.
The official pricing shows a massive gap between Flash and Pro. You also have to look closely at peak and off-peak server rates.
V4 Flash input is just 22 cents during off-peak hours. It is 44 cents during peak hours.
And output is 66 cents off-peak and $1.32 peak.
V4 Pro is significantly more expensive by comparison. Input is 66 cents off-peak and $1.32 peak.
Right.
Output jumps to $1.98 off-peak and $3.96 peak.
But you still need to look at the full task cost. DeepSeek charges by total token use, not by time.
Exactly.
Extra model calls push your monthly bill higher very quickly.
Poor context handling does the exact same thing to your wallet. Let's examine a real-world 30-task agent test from the research.
They ran DeepSeek V4 Flash through several different agent harnesses.
Let's define an agent harness quickly. It's a software wrapper managing how AI interacts with tools.
Right. The underlying DeepSeek model stayed the exact same for every test, but the success rate and cost changed drastically.
It depended entirely on how each harness structured the workload.
The Pi harness completed 17 out of 30 complex tasks. It cost about 19 cents per successful task.
The Codex harness completed 16 tasks, but it only cost about 8 cents per successful task. That is highly efficient.
The Claude Code harness completed 16 tasks too, but it cost 19 cents per successful task.
So it costs more than twice as much as the Codex setup.
The takeaway here is very clear. A cheap model definitely helps lower the floor, but your chosen agent setup still dictates your final monthly cost.
2-sec silence.
Oh.
I'll be honest, I still wrestle with setting up my agent harness correctly. It's remarkably easy to accidentally inflate your own computing bill.
It really is. A bad infinite loop can cost you actual dollars in minutes.
Beat? But why does the exact same model cost wildly different amounts depending on the harness?
Because inefficient harnesses make the model reread unnecessary context over and over. A good harness only feeds the exact lines of code needed for that specific step.
Poor setup means you pay the AI to read the same page repeatedly.
Exactly. It is like stacking Lego blocks of data very poorly. You waste material.
So with prices dropping to absolute pennies for these models, we have to ask a serious question. Is there any logical reason to still pay top dollar?
It's a fair question.
Is a premium brand worth it? Let's talk about Anthropic Claude Code.
Claude Code still holds a very strong, prestigious position, but enterprise users have many cheaper options to compare it with now.
Anthropic has to prove that higher output quality justifies the massive premium price. We know Claude Opus 5 costs $5 per million input tokens.
And a whopping $25 for output tokens. Even their mid-tier Claude Sonnet 5 costs 2 and 10.
That puts Claude squarely on the expensive side for long, repetitive coding tasks.
Anthropic is aggressively expanding Claude into a massive corporate ecosystem. They have Claude Code, Cowork, and Claude in Chrome.
They also have Claude Design and deep Microsoft 365 integration. You get a lot of powerful ways to use Claude.
Yeah, but you also have more workflows to track and manage.
So where does Claude actually justify its premium price tag? Front-end visual work is one massive area. It truly stands out from the pack there.
Anthropic says Opus 5 performs much better on complex animation. It handles intricate browser games and 3D rendering work beautifully.
Here's the most impressive practical part. It actively opens web pages at different mobile screen sizes.
Right.
It finds and fixes responsive visual problems autonomously.
It does all of that silently before you even see the compiled result. That visual strength carries directly into final Office output generation too.
Claude can autonomously create and edit complex Excel files. It handles PowerPoint, Word, and PDF files directly.
You don't stop the AI workflow when the coding part is done.
Let's look at the landing page study from our sources. Claude Opus 5 and Claude Fable 5 ranked at the very top of the pack.
Researchers tested multiple models directly against each other on UI generation. Opus 5 won 59.4% of direct visual comparisons.
That is a commanding lead in front-end aesthetics.
One test cannot definitively prove Claude wins every single project type. But if you care about cleaner front-end design, those numbers matter a lot.
You pay significantly more compute money up front,
Yeah.
but you save countless hours on manual visual fix-ups at the very end.
Absolutely.
Fact. But I have to push back here. Is paying premium for Claude purely about aesthetics, or is it about functional UI?
It's highly functional. Broken visuals often mean broken user interactions.
Right.
If a checkout button renders slightly off-screen on a mobile device, the user simply cannot buy your product.
A beautiful interface is useless if the buttons don't actually click.
Exactly. Claude makes absolutely sure the buttons actually work everywhere.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's summarize the core takeaway from all these conflicting sources.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
The coding landscape has matured completely past simple benchmark scores.
You are no longer choosing an agent just because it writes Python slightly better. You have to look critically at the entire operational workflow.
Choosing an agent is about evaluating your holistic project realistically. From early architectural planning to final coding to office documentation,
Right.
you need to know exactly how much the tool can autonomously absorb.
The quality gap between cheap models and serious premium brands is closing rapidly. You absolutely cannot just stick with the biggest brand name anymore.
You have to ask yourself what tasks you still have to fix manually. If you choose an agent by brand alone, you are falling behind your peers.
You really are.
Beat. I want to leave you with a final thought today.
It is a genuinely fascinating question to ponder.
If these autonomous agents are handling the deep architectural coding, if they do the complex data analysis and visual mobile debugging, if they handle the spreadsheet reporting to management, at what point does the title of software engineer simply become AI project manager?
It is coming much faster than we like to think.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.